We have not. Also, hello everybody, because I know everyone can hear me at this point. But no, we have not discussed. Oh, we had discussed that. That is something that we haven't nothing firm has been obviously said yet, but we have discussed. Well, sorta. We hadn't we talked more about just complete digital distribution, possibly. Yeah.
Shit. Justin, everybody can hear you if you're not wanting to actively. Okay.
Oh no, we're aware. Yeah, we are.
Okay.
We
Okay.
talk
Then
later.
I'll jump.
Hey everybody, welcome to Reaper Pro Tips. It is later in the morning than usual because Justin was a slacker and went out and got exercise and, fresh air and stuff this morning. And had fun without us, pretty much, is what it comes down to, right? Is Justin having fun without us. How could he?
That was amazing. It really was.
Yes, but yeah, so sometimes, as you heard, sometimes I have some stuff that I want to talk to Justin about, and I don't really care if you guys hear a little bit of his side of the conversation, as long as it's not like totally confidential. So sorry, you got to hear some babble while we were starting to go live, but now we are here, and you don't have to worry. Now you can hear both of us, and no, I'm not going to tell you what we were talking about. It's top secret. But anyway, yes, good morning, Ottermano. Otter, okay, your name has defeated me. Otter Mama crits you for 10,000. But I have had actual caffeine this morning. So, and water and food and, you know, a nice relaxing morning. My only worry is that my dog will explode since we switched up the time schedule today. So it's going to impinge on when I usually take her out for her second walk. So if I suddenly go, oh no, 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 Kiri, and stand up, that's why. And then we'll go to the dog emergency screen. So hopefully she'll sleep through this because she's accustomed to sleep through this. And hopefully she won't notice that it's an hour later. But yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Did I turn off my swoosh? Did I miss my swoosh? Oh, no, I haven't turned off my swoosh. She's reminding me to turn off my swoosh.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think they're reminding you.
Thank you, Numbat. That's great.
Also, thank you, Planer, for hopping in.
Yeah, for sure. Just in case we had totally, like, you know, missed the fact that we were having a one-sided conversation. Justin should have just muted himself, damn it. But that's okay. But yeah. Yeah, it's a good day. I mean, I'm feeling I was productive yesterday, and I'm going to be productive today, and that makes me happy when I'm getting things done, so it's all good, and it's a lovely day. It's actually kind of an overcast day here in California, so it's supposed to be a little bit cooler, which means it should be good walking weather, which I love, so that's exciting too. So yeah, I hope you all are doing... Yes, hello, yes. So maybe we'll see some new faces today. Fatchison, have I seen you before? Are you new? Are you just new to me? Or do you just not normally talk? But yes. So absolutely. I'm just looking at everybody, and hello to everybody that I did not see. Yeah, Sharky, not professional. # not professional. We're very happy not to be professional for this stream. So yeah, awesome. Cool, well, let's just get into it. I'm going to do Dice Dude today. Hello, Andre Krat. Hello, Arsenal. Hello. All right, so let's see here. We've got a Dice Dude, and he's still drying a little bit. I threw a quick base coat on him. When you're doing this sort of wet blending, which is what we're going to do to set up our marbled dice effect, yes, we're going to attempt to do a swirly black and gold dice today. I asked for suggestions for colors, and I really liked the thought of that one. So we are going to go for it. We're just going to wait for our base coat to dry a little bit. You don't really even need your base coat to be real solid. The reason I did lay down a base coat is that I'm going to be swirling two colors together, right? I'm going to be doing a red and a gold. And I didn't want to have to worry about coverage over my base bones material. So I decided to put down a base color that's a dark red. And the reason I chose a dark red... yeah, well, I haven't ever done it, Everlina. This is going to be me failing on stream or succeeding on stream. I'm going to, I know how I would try it. So I will just attempt that and we'll see if it works. New to you. Oh, okay, Fetchson. Oh, great. Oh, cool. Well, it's nice to meet you online anyway. Thank you for coming. Yeah, usually I'm a bit earlier in the morning on this stream. So welcome to the stream. But yeah, so as I was saying, I used a dark color because since one of our colors is a metallic, and I'm probably going to be starting with Dwarven Gold and doing some highlights with Dragon Gold, dark colors make our metallics look shinier. So when you are putting down any of the Reaper metallics, start with a dark base coat first, then lay your metallic color in. It will make the metallic look shinier. It's just the way that the flake works, because all the metallic flakes are somewhat translucent, and they are more reflective placed over a dark color than over a light color. So that is why we do that. So I started with, actually, and I have to endorse the Pathfinder dark reds, by the way. The two Pathfinder colors that I constantly reach for are Asmodeus red and Urgathoa red. And then another one I like is Kalian wine. So I have to really say these are some really nice dark reds. So if you haven't picked up any of the Pathfinder colors, I would recommend 89508. And I think Asmodeus is 07 or 0. Yeah, I think it's 07. I think those are all in a row. Nope, wrong red. There we go. Yeah. So these are all in a row. Ah, drop dice guy. Dice fail. I'll get him in a second. We're talking about paint. Paint's important. So we'll go in reverse order here. So these three colors are very, very nice colors and very unique. You cannot really find anything like them in the other lines. This is a very warm brickish red, which I like a lot if I'm going to highlight up with orange. Pardon me while I reach down to get my dice guy. There we go. Awesome. Dice guy retrieved successfully with only a little dog hair attached. And it's just a feature, right? He's just, growing some hair. So Urgathoa red, very dark, rich, warmish red. Asmodeus, very, very brickish, warm red, very nice, very sweet, saturated. Really love this red. Can't say enough about it. Kalian wine is it's kind of like Burgundy wine, only a bit lighter and a little more purplier. It is quite different. It's more reddish than, say, things like runic purple. It's not as light. Let me see if I can pop in a example here somewhere. Looking for all my colors. All my colors are all over the place. But take my word for it. Yeah. Max styles, I mean, they're formulated to have the coverage of bones, but the colors are absolutely different. So it's more the point that you really can't find a nice, warm, saturated red like this in MSP, except for Amadeus red. And Urgathoa just has really nice coverage for a dark, purpley, warmish red. And Kalian wine, I just pretty much really like the color. It's not quite as purple. It is more reddish. Here, we'll show you. So it's more of... Let's see here. Will my palette cooperate? Let me get some... You can see that color. It's a little hard to see against the way of the palette, but there you go. So it's a very reddish purple. It's quite saturated. It reminds me a lot of my color that I really love that's coming out, Orchid Purple, only Orchid is lighter and a bit more raspberry. This is a little more purple, but I do really like it. It's a really, really unique purple, very different from other stuff we've done. So as far as the Pathfinder colors that I constantly have in my box at my right hand so that I can grab them when I want them, it's these guys. So we're using Urgathoa today. As you can see, it's a nice dark red. It's a really rich dark red. Oh, thanks, Numbat. We have more subs. We have many more subs. And WDF also subbed with Twitch Prime. Resubbed. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thanks,
so we have
guys.
gigantic
Thank you,
sub burst. Thank you, everybody. Yay. Yeah, you don't know, right? You don't know if ReaperCon will happen. Nobody knows anything. I mean, I think you can kind of assume that any really large gatherings are going to be the last thing to come back online, right? Like arena sports and stuff like that. Just because it's just so many people in one place. But at the same time, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. So I was doing a quick secondary coat on this. You can see how rich that red is. It's a really nice color. Love it. All right, so let's grab some of our other colors. What day is it? Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is painting Gorix or Garrett painting Grix. Oh, awesome. Yeah, Grix was my favorite army as far as style from War Machine. But yeah, so this guy is one of our high rollers, dice adventurers, and I have a couple of them. I have the two that I really like, which is the Archer Dude and the Bard. So I thought that today, Archer Dude didn't say red to me, and I knew I was doing red and gold, so I thought we would make the Bard nice and flamboyant with red and gold. Yay! It's December Trifbery. Yes, no, it's April. It's the 748th day of April. That's what it is. Alright, we're going to use Heraldic Red for our base red. And I decided to use Dwarven Gold. It's a very red gold. But I thought, I was going to use Dragon, but then I thought, well, for my initial coverage, I'll do Dwarven, and then I'll pick out some of the lighter splashes of metallic with Dragon. So using Dragon as a highlight for Dwarven, in other words, which works pretty well. Well, Shaunald, I mean, the thing is it may happen, but it may just be a lot smaller in attendance. I mean, you know, we've got the convention center locked down. So, I mean, the question is, you know, do we lose money if we cancel our convention center? In which case, I think that we definitely would do ReaperCon. Would just try to make it work a different way, right? We'd have swag bags available online like we always do. Maybe we'd have some more online stuff. Who knows? But I would like to think that Reaper will go forward with ReaperCon in some form. And then it's just up to everybody whether they, you know, consider it safe to travel and are comfortable with that, right? So for those of you who have seen me do wet blending before, this will look familiar, but we're going to do it a little different. So we want to have, let's see, do I have any dice that are marbly? Yeah, I do. Here. Let's see here. Let's see what we can do. I have an example, although my example is green, sadly. Let's see if I can find a good swirl. So you've got swirly dice. We all know what swirly dice look like, right? Yeah. Marble effect. So when they do these, you can see they definitely have some dark color going through, and they've got the light color going through, and then they've got a lot of areas that are kind of a mix in various ways. And they're building up with layers. So what I'm thinking is that the base color needs to be kind of a wet blend where we leave areas of dark and of light. But then we also need to kind of do streaks through some of this other area. We might do those streaks after the fact. So we need to muddle it up and get various colors going through this stuff. And this is obviously quite complex, and we're probably not going to be able to get it quite this complex, although this area is doable. But this is, you know, look at a dice and kind of think about, you know, okay, well, this is a mix of this and that, and this is more of a clear resin. It's probably the base resin where the color didn't quite mix in, you know, and kind of look at the patterns, and a lot of the patterns are kind of swoopy. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to do a lot of paint. We're going to load the surface with paint in splotches, and we're going to kind of drag our brush through with the metallic, and we're going to see if we can get something like this. And this is a very comparable size, so it kind of shows us how we should break up the area. And because it actually looks like it has some pretty fine striations here, I'm going to say that my flat brush is probably not going to be the way we do our striations. But yeah, so let me see here. Picked up a paint take-home survival kit. It has some dragon paints in it. No painting cricks. Dragon, in the old days, there were a lot of dragon colors that were just regular colors. Just dragon blue was a Reaper color, and dragon black and dragon white, it was just what they called it. So those are not metallics. Usually you can find our metallics in specific places in the line. So usually it's like in the first 54 colors, it'll be the last set of colors will be metallics. And then the colored metallics are in core, Reaper core line. They are going to be in the 9100 to 9106. Around there. 9108, 91 something. 9106, I think, is amethyst. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. 5 is amethyst. So yeah, 106 is full improver. So you have blocks of metallics, triads of metallics, and most of the colored metallics are all going to be in core. And most of the other lines like Pathfinder and Bones are going to have metallics at the end of the line. So the end of the item numbers. Yeah. Alrighty. I'm going to try this. Let's try this. Let's see how we can do. We are going to be experimenting. So right away, if I'm looking at this dice, I see I want dark up here and light down here and kind of a muddled middle. I kind of want to, I'm thinking about keeping my Ergothoa red and splotching that in for dark. So maybe I'll actually lay down splotches of that here and there. And I want quite a bit because I want these colors to kind of swirl together. And I'm not going to clean off my brush, and I'm going to dab colors in. Kind of like that. Now, I want to rinse out my brush. I want to add some gold. Let's grab my gold and add dabs of it, and kind of, I'm going to drag it a little bit, I think. So let's do that. So now we've patchworked it like a 5-year-old. Now, we're going to take our regular brush, our good brush, and we're going to draw with blending. So we're going to actually kind of fudge the edges of those swirls. We're going to try to drag the metallic in little tendrils up the face of the dice guy. We're gonna, you know, spread our gold down here. We're gonna kind of mix it in maybe a little bit with our red down here so we get variance. I'm gonna start using a stippling brush stroke. Want to smooth out this paint a little bit, but I want to have different demarcations. I want that up there. I'm gonna keep, since I loaded, the magic of this, guys, is that I loaded my paint on quite thickly. So thick paint is a way to keep your paint wetter for longer, workable for longer. It also can risk clogging up detail, but not if you just do one layer of it like this. So we're going to work with this. Let me see. I'm going to grab this. My paint is drying as we speak, so I do have to keep an eye on where it is drying and where it is not. I do want to mix in this little thing, and I want to put in a darker red stripe here. Maybe I'm going to fudge this area up a little bit. Shrink this big blob of gold a little so it's less apparent. Maybe extend it. I do want more metallic. Now this, since it's now drying a bit, I'm going to add just a teeny bit of water to my gold. Metallics tend to fall out of solution when you add water, so you always want to work with a very small amount of water when you are working with metallics. Let me add a little bit more metallic so I make sure that I'm workable. Uh-oh. Now, of course, my thing wants to clog. Sad. Do not clog metallic. So yeah, so you start with just splotches. You pretend you were 5 years old again. You start with splotches. And now we're going to get up close and personal and add some detail. And then we're going to get another brighter gold and try to add more detail. So this is pretty good, I think, as far as this goes. I could add some strains of gold down here. And when my paint is still wet, I have to be careful not to strip it up. But I can still dab at it a little bit. And if I use a really light touch with the brush, I can introduce streaks of color. There we go. There we go. I want to make sure you guys can see. And I can, where it's dried, I can add in really tight details. So over here, I've got a couple of cool tendrils of gold that I want to accentuate. So I can paint gently over them. Keep the kind of swirling pattern that they've got and just kind of make them a little brighter. And we probably want to add some really tiny streaks of gold elsewhere because we've got some like tiny streaks here, right? So we got little swirls and things. So let's add a really tiny, and we'll work it off of an existing puddle of gold over here. And then we'll draw the thinnest line we want and make it squiggly. Like, you know, resin is flowing together in patterns, and it's not going to be regular. It is probably going to follow a direction, though, because when they pour the resin, you can kind of see, right, that here, everything is going like this. So I wouldn't do any perpendicular stripes through Mr. Bard's face here. I would actually keep everything flowing roughly the same direction. So here's a nice tendril that kind of faded out, so I could continue that. Oh, we got a little bit of wet paint here, ran into it. Just gotta be careful that I'm not making globs, so maybe I'll just blend with a little bit of my brush. Don't want too much there. Now, that's kind of cool. I do need to let that area dry before I extend this swooping gold thing. So I think I want more bright red over here. And I'm gonna pretty much just kind of swoopify and speckle that in, kind of stipple it. I can bring in a little bit more of my Ergothoa red if I want and kind of blend the edge a bit, do some wet blending. I don't want to eclipse any of my gold, so I want to be very careful. So I've got a little bit more bright red now, getting a little bit too much external light from my window, but there you go. Oh, there we go. Now we can see him. So that's kind of a cool marbly golden red pattern. It probably will. I mean, we'll see, right, Otter Mama? There are ways to work with that. You'll notice I left this eye mostly closed and left it pretty pristine. I actually may, I'm going to thin my red just a tad. Notice also that when I first put paint on the model, guys, it was full strength. I didn't thin it. But now that I want to do finer effects and tune things, I'm going to thin it. Not just the metallic, but also the red. Because I don't want to clump up texture. This is supposed to be a smooth surface. So that means working with thinner paint. Let's see here. Because we will still need to highlight and shade this stuff. So this is just, now the thing is, Ottermama, here's the deal. Like, I could try to paint cool swirling patterns and try to keep away from all these features. But if I do that, it's going to be a lot harder, right? It's just going to be a lot slower. I'm going to have to like paint in tiny little areas, and maybe I don't get the whole effect that I want. Whereas if I just paint across the whole face of everything and I don't worry about my details yet, I can just concentrate on the shape of the squiggles and making sure that the dice marbling looks right. And then I can go back in and kind of salvage my other areas. So for me, this is probably going to mean highlighting some of the areas that would naturally get highlighting, and I'm going to put that eyeball, retrace this eyeball in once this area dries. But this is a quite thick red coat that I managed to apply here, so in retrospect, I should have grabbed some of this red out of here because it definitely pooled, but that's all right. So obviously when you're working on the back, this is going to be a no problem, right? So let's redo this on the back where we have a nice big area and we can just blob in a bunch of paint. I'm working with slightly thinner paint because, of course, I thinned it. I didn't think I was going to be doing the back also, but here I go. So bring in some of your Urgathoa red in big blobs. Make sure you cover a lot of the area with paint. Then come in with your metallic and put that in with big blobs as much as you want. And then take your brush and start drawing. Start drawing through all of your paint and swirl it and make it go in little striations. And encourage it to pool and to run and to do crazy things. And when you feel like you are running out of paint, you know, add more in so that you have more opportunity to do cool swirlies. And you don't have to be precise about it. You can just muck about with it. Just make sure that you've got some full strength color and that you are not wiping out or mixing in all of your colors together. A little bit of mixing is fine, but try not to blend too much or you'll lose that marbled effect. Because really the different resins are running together. So you want to preserve that look. There. And when it's wet, drawing a real thin stroke through it can help give you that drippy resin look. There. That's kind of nice. A little bit more here. I'm losing some of my medium red over there. Good morning, Daffodware. Yeah, so, the other thing is that I'm going to go back and highlight and shade this area. I'm going to work around the metallics and actually try to make them work that way. So this is, like I said, this is an experiment. I've never done it either. This is me playing around in front of you guys so you can see my process of how, really just sometimes what it comes down to is you've got to just dive in. I mean, you never know if you're going to be able to make it work until you try to make it work. And inevitably, when you try to make something work and you fail, you at least get information about, you know, well, this failed and I thought it would fail, but now I think I have an idea to make it work, right? It'll at least show you kind of why things didn't work, and then you can not necessarily scuttle your idea. You can go back at your idea armed with more knowledge, which is much nicer. So I want to thin down some of these areas, make some finer streaks, because I definitely have some big, bold areas on this particular swirly dice. And you never want dots. You always want, remember how everything swirls together in these guys. You always want swirls or streaks or kind of like ovals. You know, you want that kind of. So this dot is right out. We're not going to keep that dot. We're going to actually take this dot down and make it more of a scallopy gold thing. And we're going to go down here, and then we'll go back with our gold. Because remember, you want it to look like it's flowing. So kind of like, could totally paint turn your circles into like oblong, oval, elongated areas. So there, this guy, make it look like it flowed together. Like that. This one's okay. This one has kind of a flow to it up here. We can keep that for now. Thanks, GM Brent. Yeah, my move went really well. I'm all settled in. Pretty much everything is unpacked except for 4 boxes now. I think. I have 4 boxes left out there. I spent 5 days solid unpacking, and then I was just like, I need to get some work done. So then the last bit of packing has been going very slowly, or the last bit of unpacking, rather. But it was still pretty impressive that I got so much done in my first bit of time here as far as unpacking. I feel accomplished. I feel like my setup is progressing. I'm slowly tuning it every day to make my painting setup more work-friendly. And it's just good. It feels good. Like, I still can't really believe I live here because I haven't had any time to explore. Like, yesterday I actually went to the store. And that was a nice break. But for the most part, we've been definitely sheltering in place and being conscientious about it. So there we go. There's our marbly dice. Oh, cool. Excellent. Yeah, I taught last year at KublaCon, which unfortunately has been canceled this year thanks to the virus. But hopefully to be rescheduled later. We'll see. I think a lot of small conventions are gonna be hit hard by this stuff, and I hope they can still exist, right? Because they usually don't run on a very big margin. But I'm pretty sure that there is a big supportive community behind KublaCon that would band together to make sure that it lives. Which is the nice thing about the small conventions, is you usually have a local fan base. Alright, so I'm just like tuning some of my streaky things, making them look like, that's pretty cool actually, I like that. But yeah, we're down in Mountain View, the weather is amazing. Janky, Reaper has a UK shipping supply center, actually. One of our employees and his family moved to the UK to run it. So when you get an order in Europe, it is being shipped out of our supply center in the UK. But we haven't really done any conventions or anything over there because it's so expensive. And now, of course, it's just really difficult to get out of the country and back in and all the rest of it. So I suspect that if we do anything with international conventions ever, it's going to be it'll have to be formulated well after this. I don't know how practical it is for us. It's very expensive to do conventions out of country because of the shipping costs for everything, and also getting people to man your booth. If you don't have a lot of people, you got to fly them over, and that's not cheap. Adding some little extra gold swirls there. So I'm not sure if we would, Janky. I know that I really wanted to go to World Expo this year, which is in the Netherlands this year. But we canceled those plans because of everything else. So maybe, I kind of hope, I don't know if World Expo might be in the UK ever, but I mean, I would love to go back. I went to the UK a couple times when I was younger and really enjoyed it. England, Ireland, and Scotland. So we will see. We'll see. I suspect that if you ever saw us over there at a convention, it would be with a kind of a reduced presence, and it would be just probably promotional, just because, like I said, it's so expensive to travel internationally for a con when you have to take all your product and your people and everything. Alrighty. Yay! That's really cool and streaky. Well, good, Cornico. Thank you. Yeah, I'm with you, Numbat, on the... I have heard... I mean, I'm new to here, so I don't know all of the players yet. All I know is the mini choice community. But yeah, it's like the management and, you know, it's always perception of how the con is growing or progressing, or if it's, you know... Yeah, that's always... Everybody's got an opinion, right? With such a long-running and beloved institution, everybody has an opinion on how it should be run. And, you know, usually it's just a handful of people doing the actual work for it. So it's always kind of sticky when you get down to that. So I'm interested to see how it all progresses. I was going to teach this year, but we'll see if they reschedule. All right, so we've got nice swirly streaks on our marbly red dice. It's fun. Yeah, I do like KublaCon a lot, Gianbrett. I flew out this past year because I had my boyfriend here, obviously, and it was an excuse for us to get together and teach some classes and enter a mini competition and all the rest of it. But there was a very cool subset of the mini painting community that came for last KublaCon. Like, there were a lot of really good top painters who were fantastic people. And like Matt DiPietro taught, it was teaching, and a lot of other really high quality instructors. So it was nice to see, right? Let's see. Hi, Tree Boots. Yeah. So I'm doing marbly dice today. So I kind of just did a flat demo on the back so everybody could see what I was doing. And I'm going to go and do some highlighting and shading on the front here to try to bring out details. And since this is a very cartoony character, I will be using pure black for once. To do details on it. I seldom use pure black usually because I'm looking for a much more natural effect. But for this guy, it definitely works. So we're going to try to get all of his little details picked out. Yeah, Labor Day is when ReaperCon is also, Brent. So that's why it's like, there's a lot of cons on the holiday weekends, and it's hard because there's so many conventions now, right? You really have to choose what you're going to. So first I'm going to fill in the mouth. And then I'm going to probably line around the teeth. And it's going to be hard to make some of these details stand out when it's fighting with the metallic. But I'm betting we can work on it. So I'm going to also outline the eyelid here, since he's got his eyes closed while he's singing and playing. And that's going to help a little bit. Yeah, Nomad Zeke, we had to, we really had to just take what the convention center could give us, sadly. And that's the truth with so many conventions. Like, you are really limited as to your time frame, as to what is available for the convention center that you're using. So always assume that, you know, we know that it's a conflicting weekend, but we just didn't have a choice if we wanted the convention center. So there's not a lot we can really do about that. And that's why we locked in for so many years, because then at least we were consistent and people could choose which convention they wanted to go to, knowing in advance that you had conflict, right? So, but we do love the Denton Convention Center very much, and it is a wonderful venue for ReaperCon. So we are working on that. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Not bad. Yeah, then when PaizoCon moved to Memorial Day, same thing, right? They had little choice. They had to take what was available that worked for their schedule and, you know, a fair number of attendees. So, yeah, you guys, you just gotta, we have a lot of stuff, a lot of conventions that are excellent, that are competing for our attention, all during the spring and summer. So it's just, I know a lot of people who alternate, who are like, I will go to this con this year, and I'll go to ReaperCon next year. You know, that sort of thing. That works. I'm going to give him black eyebrows, too. I'm going to see here. Can I get him to... I want you guys to see. And sometimes my outdoor lighting is great, and sometimes my outdoor lighting is not so great. Let me see. I'm going to switch my backdrop color and see if that helps. 1 second. Shoving stuff out of the way. Trying not to spill dice everywhere. The only problem is that my little backdrop here is I have to actually move everything else out of the way. So let's go to a dark gray. Ta-da! Backdrop color. I like that better. I've been experimenting with the light blue, and it works for some models really well, but other models it is not as good for. So we'll do our gray backdrop. There, now we can see him a little bit better. That's too bad that she wouldn't attend it with you, Fetch said. Yeah, that's good. That's good that one of the teachers lives 30 minutes from you, Nomad Zeke. Yeah, it is what it is. Oh, thanks, Wolf Fenrir. I'm glad you think so. I also think that it has one of the best atmospheres in any convention. All right, let's get this other eyebrow going. And let's see if we can successfully highlight and shade around this stuff. He's working. I do need some color for his teeth. Let me grab something real quick here. What do I have? I have driftwood brown. That'll work. Plus white. Ah, my driftwood brown needs more shaking. If he had actual open eyes, this would be a lot easier, by the way, guys. It would be extremely simple then to bring out all the details and everything. So with most of the high rollers, if you try a marbled effect, you won't have quite the challenge that you will on this particular sculpt. Because I'm betting I can make the mouth stand out no problem. It's just that the eyes are closed. Yeah, I mean, it's a choice, right? Some people are willing to sacrifice like personal stuff or combine it with a convention, depending on who you are and your lifestyle and all the rest. I mean, considering that David and I started dating, so our dating anniversary is Adepticon, I can guarantee that our anniversary will be at Adepticon in any year that Adepticon goes on that we decide to go. So I feel that. All right, I just mixed up some driftwood brown plus white. Driftwood is a wonderful, versatile, kind of golden grayish brown that I absolutely love. It's one of my must-have colors. I love it for parchment. I love it for book pages. I love it for bone. I love it for all sorts of things. And it's a good highlight for faded weathered wood as well. So got our little teeth coming out there. Let's see, I can probably give him a little pink tongue too. His lip, let's see here. Technically, the lower side of a lip should be dark, so I'm going to lose some of my gold swirl here. I'm going to try to keep it just on the top. And I'm going to paint that upper lip, the underside of that upper lip dark, which is going to help us bring out this stuff. We also are probably going to go in and kind of put a little shadow behind that upper lip, because there would be one the way the sculpt is. Using thinned paint so I don't lose all my gold. This is where we have to make the swirls kind of bow to highlights and shadows. So let's see, I'm going to shade the bottom part of this eye. I'm going to lose a little bit of this metallic doing it, but just a little. I just want that eye to show up. And over here, I'm going to highlight. I'm going to put more red on top of the other eye to make it turn. Let's see, I need this to be in focus. Come on, focus. There we go. See, this is why metallics are, this is why NMM is used for things on camera more often than metallics, guys, because you can't control the highlight. And I'm going to get that super bright highlight on top of the eye because of the direction of my light, almost no matter what I do. Let me see, I'm going to take that off. Let's take part of that off. All right, so that's a little better. All right, I turned off one of my lights, so we'll see if this works. And then you want to highlight, you want definitely lighter red up on the top of this eye to have it stand out a bit more. That's starting to make the expression come out a little bit more. You can see the closed eyes now. You know, you can see the mouth. I want to bring up that lower lip. A bit more bright red. And probably a highlight of red mixed with white. So this is heraldic red, by the way, 9402. It's a good middle range red. Yeah, Patreon ad for my channel. Oh yeah, Thatch said, I am, actually thanks for bringing that up, as I am super excited to promote it. My Patreon is patreon.com/paintingbig, all one word. That is me, and obviously now that I moved, Reaper has been awesome in keeping me on part-time for streaming, but my main source of income is the Patreon. So I'm extremely grateful, like beyond words, really, you guys, that everybody here, especially in these times where a lot of people are experiencing like limited income themselves, that y'all are generous enough to help keep me afloat, help keep food in Kiri's dish. Because it's definitely, you know, I took a chance when I moved out here to see if I could make the freelance life work, and And now that I'm getting a little bit more, organized, now I'm starting on, my commissions, and I'm going to be taking more commissions as well. But the Patreon is really like my main source right now, and I really appreciate everybody who is helping me. There, look, I've got his little lip highlighted. That helps. I think that I actually chose to keep that live, Fatchison. I'm pretty sure that if you go on and do a $5 sign up, that I chose to just permanently do that. I kind of talked about it with some of my patrons, and we agreed, since it was past content, that there was no harm, no foul. So I'm pretty sure I kept that activated, so you can see last year's content. $10 content if you are a $5 viewer. I also kind of wanted to keep it that way because then people who forgot or just ran out of time and didn't download everything would be able to get at it. So, I mean, it's cool. I may do this special offer every year. I'm debating it, where previous year's content goes up for cheaper. We'll see. Maybe not. I'm still kind of learning the Patreon, how to do it, what to do it, what people like, what people don't like. It's been a fun experience. I do love Patreon. I think that it's a real game changer for freelancers. All right, so let's see here. So he's got one blotchy eye and one not so blotchy eye. I do want to go in and do a brighter highlight on some of this red. So I'm going to mix up. You can go lightish red without going too pink. I could also highlight with yellow, but the reason I wouldn't do that for this guy is that I'm already using gold, so I don't want to kind of muddy the waters there. So if you add just a little bit of white to your red, you can get kind of more of a strawberry pink, or just a little bit darker. You can see that it's lightish. It's a dark pink. And that's probably the safest way to highlight your red without going pink if you're not going up to orange. So I'm just going to pretty much highlight the eyelid here. I want just a little bit more on there to try to make the shape come out so that it's very obviously a closed eye. I want to accent the expression. I think the expression is actually looking quite well right now. I don't think we've lost a lot. The fact that I've got that big gold blob on top of the eyelid, if I had really thought about it, I might have not gone with that, but I really love how that shape turned out. So at the same time, I'm loath to change it. So I think I'm just going to run with it. Remember that when you're highlighting rounded surfaces like this, your highlight shape should also be round. And I could even go up to a little bit of a higher pink if I wanted. Ta-da! There we are. Gonna go a little lighter in here as well. And a little bit more toward a medium red here, and just leave the shadow down on the lower part of the eyelid. Be real careful. There. And I could actually go in here and kind of put some red in here, create more of a swirling shape to interrupt some of this gold. There. That's a little better. All right. So we have a face. Yay, we have a face. And it's still a swirly dice face. Yay. All right, so now I'm going to highlight, I think. Freestyle, I'm pretty sure. It'd be a little difficult because the shape of the eye is different when you have it closed. You could certainly paint it like that, but you might end up with very oval, weirdly slanted eyes. Because you can see the shape of this one is not perfectly round. It would end up being kind of like that. But you could totally, and because of the way his eyebrows are, he'd probably end up looking really surprised. Like, honestly, considering the entire model, if you painted the eyes open, I would have him looking up and have him going, oh no, like he just noticed a rock or a dragon flying at him. You could easily do that, given his facial expression. But you're limited somewhat as to your facial expression by the position of the eyebrows and the shape of the eyes and the mouth. So you could easily do a surprised open-eyed look on this guy. Absolutely. The, oh no, I just saw this dragon, and he does not like my singing. That sort of expression. But yeah, I mean, it might look a little bit better if you took a hobby knife and kind of etched in, a little bit more of a you know, a line around the eye. But you could illusion it with paint pretty easily. It just wouldn't look as good as if it was sculpted. All right, so let's do some highlights. This one turned out pretty well. In retrospect, I might have fudged a little bit more red into some of these gold stripes. They're very clear. None of them are really, I mean, I guess some of them are kind of blending in. You want a mixture of kind of blending in the gold and having it be stripey. I really went stripey back here. So, you know, it's all what you think looks good at that point. And a little bit heavier over here. Second. Just keeping an eye on where our time is. We got plenty of time, so I am going to highlight this. I want to block in this number also. Given that you could block in this number with various things, like you could go off-white with it or a paler gold, I guess. Oops, I got some pink in there. Now it's rose gold. Oh no. Or you could go black. I mean, black stands out. If you've got a very dark colored dye, go with a light color to fill in your numeral. And if you have a darker or a lighter colored dye, go with the dark. I think I did. Yeah, I think I said that right. You get the idea. You want contrast. I could, since this is kind of a middle zone, I could go with a light color for this 6. I could go with a silver if I thought it would look good with the gold. But I'm inclined to think the black is the way I would want to run it. So, and that will show up once it dries. That shows up actually quite well. So, I just fill them in this time. There's really no reason not to just fill them in. That's what they do on regular dice. I mean, they just essentially paint over the divots. So there's no fancy thing to do with it really. I mean, if you look at it, it really is just white paint that's put on top of the epoxy. So it's flat. It doesn't really have any definition to it. If I wanted to, I could maybe highlight the bottom edge where the light would hit. You can see the light hitting it even as I turn it in the light. There you go. But yeah, I mean, really, it is very simple for the numbers. All right, so let's see. Let's do some highlights on the gold. Let's get out our dragon gold. See if we can make it a little lighter and add a little more dimension. Dragon gold is more yellow than dwarven, so it's going to give us bigger contrast. I may also want to lighten it even more by adding a little white paint to it to make it really stand out, because I'm not sure that it's really going to stand out much on its own, especially with these little tiny tendrils. So maybe I'll add a little white, which will lighten it slightly. You can add solid colors to metallic paints. Just add a tiny bit. The more metallic, the more non-metallic paint you add to a metallic, the less shiny the metallic will get, because the pigment is particulate and it will block light passing to the flake. So that is the big challenge of. That's why most people just lay the metallic down and then shade and highlight over the top rather than mixing colors in. Although some people do it. Filling them without ruining the paint job, missed him. Yeah. That's why I would just like, you know, block in like these. Like at this point, if I filled it in, if I splodged a little, I could probably touch it up with some gold and some red pretty easily, because it's all irregular patterns. If you're doing more of a shaded and highlighted layered where you've got a smooth blend though, then I probably would do the number right after you base coat, and then I would do the blend around it. And it probably would be easier. I do think I need a tiny bit of gold somewhere here. There. Much better. Right through the dot of the 6. All right, let's take our lighter gold and see if I can get some interesting, slightly more bright parts of gold. And here I will want to concentrate on the large bits of the gold, because if we're looking at our example dice, you're going to see more yellowish color on the bigger areas where they aren't interrupted by a lot of little swirls. And anywhere that's interrupted by a lot of swirls, you aren't going to see as much light necessarily. So just because a lot of swirls mean that the resin's mixing together more. So I'm going to just put some lighter gold color in some of these larger areas to see if I can get a little bit more variation. This is a little bit brighter. It is reading a little bit brighter. I'm going to maybe introduce a couple of new swirls here that are kind of in layers. Yeah, it's a little brighter. You can see that these two areas there and there are slightly brighter and stand out a little more than the rest of the gold. Yeah, numbers first. I agree. Unless I'm doing this sort of thing where it's such a messy treatment that I feel like I can easily touch it up. No problem. I'm going to brighten up this little area down here. Kind of like the brightening effect. It does make it a little more crisp. There we go. So now we got some of those, the variants. You can see the variants in the gold now, where there's different colors of gold. So that makes it interesting. Maybe I can get this to go pretty thin. The nice part about adding like a little white to your gold is that it gives it better coverage. And if you don't lose the shiny, if you're very cautious about it, you can get it to do very much thinner lines, because you have the opacity to be able to do traceries like that. So like down here, I could maybe do a really thin line around this area of red. Just a really thin tracer. You can see it around that one area here. Just a tiny bit of shine to pick it up. So you can do a lot thinner line with metallics if you use a little opaque paint mixed in. It's a little trick for y'all. Now it does take the shiny down, so that's why that line isn't as shiny. But I can also thicken it a little bit here and there if I want it to go shiny. There we go. So that's kind of fun. I think that's pretty cool, actually. So yeah, fun and fast, pretty much. So here we've got a much more marbled through with gold effect, where we've got a lot more gold mixed in. And here we've got more of like the color set of my green dice here, where there are definitely bigger areas that are more gold or more red. And I think that probably going this way for the face was a good idea, because it makes it less confusing. If I was here, the number stands out very well, and it's not a problem to have all this stuff going on. But here, where we've got all these different features, I think if I had done this as busy as I did this, that it would be a mistake. Having a big blob of red through here let me do the mouth pretty easily. And you see how complicated it gets when you get up on the eye here. As far as seeing, his face still stands out, but you can definitely see that the gold and the splotches confuse the appearance a little bit. So that is definitely a thing and a choice. And if you recall, I used a lot bigger paint blobs and thicker paint blobs on this one. And this one I was doing a lot more little splotches and little streaks. So yeah, kind of play around. You know, if you have old dice that you don't care about, you could always put priming on one and practice until you get down a pattern that you really like, or a color. Gosh knows we all have too many dice. Oh wait, that isn't a thing. Never mind, you didn't hear me say that. Gosh knows that non-gamer people who don't understand us think we have too many dice. So there we go, that's better. And let's get a little bit of highlighting on some of these little gold spaces with our slightly lighter gold. Maybe a little out near the edge. Don't want too much. The other thing I could do is highlight those lower lids. Let's do that. Since part of what helps the eye here is these like lower lids too. So let's grab some dark red. my Urgathoa red, if you'll recall. So we're using a lot of bones and Pathfinder today. I try to use like paints from different lines. And technically our tooth color, our driftwood brown and our pure white are core. So we used a lot of paint lines today. All right, so I'm actually going to I'm going to block out some of my gold and stuff down here on this lower lid. Just paint over it with the dark red. Being consistent on the lower lid will help us define the shape of the eye. I'll keep that gold there because it actually makes that lid stand out pretty well. So I'll keep that. All right, and if you need to, you can try to kind of carry your dark red off into a shape in the marbling. Now let's get some of our lighter red and just kind of accentuate that lower lid. Just where the light would catch it. So on this lower part, I want to bring up this lid a bit. Maybe even grab a little bit of white. You can always go over it with red if it gets too bright. Might get both the upper and lower lid there. But definitely the lower lid because light is definitely hitting down there. There we go. And I did a little bit on the underside of that lid too, but I'm going to block that in with red. So it's not quite so harsh. There we go. Our lower lids are standing out more. Gives more shape to the eye. I do think that I'm going to put some dark red under this eyebrow because it would cast a shadow like it does on the other side. So I'm going to block out a little bit of my gold doing that. And that's going to bring that eyebrow more into line with this one and make the face more symmetrical, which is going to make it look more like a face and help us work around the marbling effect. Now it's starting to, now you can start to see his face quite well, I think. Especially with all of that crowded marbling. It's starting to look a little bit more facey. Good morning, Balrog. Hey, Zambies. How's it going? It is good afternoon, isn't it? I'm on late. I'm trying not to think about how late. Although it was kind of nice to have a relaxed morning. And we do seem to see a couple of different people. Do we have a lot of people on right now, Justin? Justin's asleep. Justin could be asleep for all we know.
No, I just stepped away to use the restroom. So.
Oh, we have 107? Thanks, Freestyle. Okay, so we have about what we normally have.
Yeah, it's pretty normal. Actually, I was going to wait and see when we were kind of at our peak, or really right now, for instance, and do a quick poll for people to figure out kind of what time slots, because we're kind of, you know, not investigating, we're experimenting with stuff.
Yeah, we're playing.
And this
yeah.
does, right, and this does give you more of a relaxed morning, and assuming our viewership doesn't hurt from it or doesn't suffer, then, you know.
Yeah, well, and if it works with your time frame better, I mean, we'll
For me,
see.
it's either way. It doesn't matter too much. I mean, it just depends on, really, like I said, viewership is where I make most of my decisions. So.
Oh, yeah, well, and that's as it should be. So, definitely. Since subs are a vote for us to keep doing this. Just trying to get some of my gold tendrils back in here that I might have messed up. But yeah, go ahead and do a poll if you want to plop one. I don't know if we're at our peak yet. Might want to do a couple different ones. Like if we're going to do our normal time slot tomorrow, we could see if we get different people tomorrow. Just accenting some of my gold here. And I want to bring a little bit over into here. We definitely have a little bit of splotchy gold here. Here we are. Oh, I see.
There we go. I have 3 time frames. I have our current, which is the 11:30, 12:30, and then even 1:30, since this is an hour block. Just to kind of see where everyone lies. If it's kind of an even split, then, which to me makes sense if it would be even, because everyone's all over the place, right?
Right, right. Not everybody is in Central USA Central Time, and
Right.
or even in the USA.
Absolutely.
Since
There's some people that set alarms and wake up at 3 in the morning to watch our show.
I know, it's kind of crazy. Let's see here. Just looking at you guys' notes. ReaperCon just went virtual. Up, yep. Yep. That's what I was wondering. Well, I guess my question to you earlier was very timely, Justin, wasn't it?
Wait, did it really?
John just put up a big announcement. Anything. No, they don't tell me anything either, but John just put up an announcement and everybody is saying, see Discord for info. Poll is up for Reaper for RTB.
And I only have 17 votes. There's 100 people watching. Come on, guys, let's vote. I guess you don't have to vote if you really don't care. If it doesn't matter.
Yeah, if you don't care if you're going to show up anyway. I mean, but if you have a preference, definitely tell us your preference. Because we do like to actually make sure you guys can enjoy everything. Make sure you enjoy the show, you know. And if there's a better time for you, we're interested. So yeah, that's really funny, though, Justin, that I asked you about stuff earlier, and now ReaperCon is going virtual.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I guess that my question was timely then. Well, for the record, I guess I should send Ed an email about it. Because if he wants virtual content, I could do that.
And to specify, just in case, current time meaning, I don't mean the episode we did today. That would be the 12:30 slot. Maybe I didn't clarify super well there, because I'm looking at it now and I don't want to make sure I don't confuse you guys. So 12:30 is what we did today. Current time is what we normally do Monday through Friday.
Yeah, which would be 11 or 30 a.m. Central. 9:30 a.m. out here where I am in Pacific.
And that's kind of why I'm at Balrog, is that during the lockdown, it's really, I feel like it doesn't matter when we do it. We're going to get our core viewership. People will show up. I know I did see a lot of people in chat like a few minutes ago stating that they wanted the later shows just because they have their mornings more so. But I think that right now it's all kind of moot with the lockdown because, you know, to your point, there's people kind of not doing anything. It's gonna be more of an actual decision, I think, when we get back to normal, whenever the hell that's gonna be.
Should be up at the top of the chat, Pendrake. There should be a current poll.
Right. It should be. Yeah. You should. It's like a little drop down arrow at the top of the chat.
Top of chat window, I should say.
Too soon, Valendar. Too soon.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how the format goes for ReaperCon then. I'll send around a message and ask some questions after stream. There we go. I'm just highlighting his eyebrows now.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I really don't know how that works for mobile. If you're on mobile, you may have to do you may have to just go to the full screen of the chat if that's possible. And then You should see it drop down. I hadn't considered people
Yeah.
on mobile. Sorry.
Yeah, Twitch's mobile app is really kind of meh. So we apologize.
Meh is being really, really,
Generous,
really nice
yes.
to them too.
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
being
it's
nice.
it's a big steaming pile of crap. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us how you really feel, Justin.
Oh, I hate it. It pisses me off so much.
It pisses me off just because they're freaking dependent on a digital culture. They're Twitch. If anybody has a mobile app that works, it should be them. You know, it's like, what? High-tech company, depending on high-tech esports and video and streaming with terrible desktop or terrible phone app. It just doesn't make sense to me. You would think it would be a priority to have a functional phone app for them.
I'm gonna do the
There we
yeah,
go.
let me redo the poll again. Hopefully everyone right now, when I go to create this, look at your chat and you should see it pop up. I'm gonna rephrase this a little bit. How should we do this? Normal time. You want me to call it that? Normal time.
Normal
which is
time,
11:30?
11:30 a.m. Central. I would just put the time, like the time zone in parentheses, like 11:30 a.m. Central. That way people can look up what that is for them and understand it. And meanwhile, I'm just going to keep highlighting my little dice guy while we figure this out. Having fun highlighting the little dice guy there. I think his face shows up actually really well, considering he's splotchy. We have a Snaztastic. Now, because I used metallics on this, I do need to use metallics if there is more metal on the other part, like up here for the struts of the guitar, or the lute, so to speak. I'll want to do that. But yeah, overall, I think I like how this guy turned out. I really like the design.
You guys should see at the top of the chat now the poll popped up.
And now we have to revote, right?
Yes, revote.
Revote, everybody.
So it says normal time, 12:30, 1:30, and it's all in CST.
Yep.
And we have 120 people almost watching now. So
sweet.
Make sure we get as many of those people voting, please, guys.
Yeah, guys, vote on our time slot.
Yes, assuming you guys watch the show regularly.
Yeah. So today, for those who are new, I decided to try marble dice, a marble dice effect, with red and gold metallic, or basic red and gold metallic on one of our dice dudes, on our high roller bard, who is a D6. And so if you missed a lot of this stream, once it is up on VOD or on YouTube, go and give it a watch. This is actually the first time I've done this. I just decided to try it while I was on stream. And so you can see how I tune it, and this one is more of a open, big streaks of color, and this one has more tight marbling. So I share the colors that I use, and you get to watch me kind of play with it and get it to a point that I like it. And so it's, if you like it, if you think it looks cool, you could do this on your dice guys. I do have one more dice guy, so maybe I'll have to do a different marble take, or do a speckle or something. I don't know. I'll have to look at some of my favorite dice colors and decide what Mr. Ranger is going to be. No, I'll tell you guys, I am a morning person. Like, I start to droop at 3 in the afternoon. So can't go beyond that for Anne. Not if you want me at top of my game. He's got a sick back of abs. Cute. Oh, banishing the weekly top gifters. Yeah, I don't know. There's all sorts of things that I wish that I could invisible or visible. Let's see here. I think we're at about we're about an hour and 10 at this point. So, how had I mean, Belrog, it's weird. I mean, I have to get up earlier because I have to take out Kiri and make sure that she's got that she gets all of her business done, so that I don't have a dog explosion while I'm trying to stream. So I have a very busy morning, and it's tight if I want to eat breakfast, which breakfast is an important meal for me. So, but other than that, it does make me get up earlier, which I actually like because I am a productive person in the morning. So it's nice to have an incentive to get up earlier and to get going earlier. It helps that David gets up early as well, so we can get up at around the same time when I stream early. So yeah, I think it's good. I definitely go to bed a little earlier to compensate. Yes. All right, cool. So most of you guys like it at our normal time, it looks like, but we've only got we've got less than half of the audience voting right now, so. Yeah, if you ever had on your bucket list to attend a con in your underwear, you can do that with Virtual Con. And we don't have to look at you in your underwear, which is double awesome. Yes, and if you want news, go to the Discord. I'm just touching up my little dicey marbly stuff. A little lighter color. So I'm about wrapped up. Justin, do we have a raid? Or have you been busy?
Yeah, I was looking at, I was going to talk to John about this because honestly, this announcement here means, it means a whole lot to me because my preparations need to start now because I assume I'm the one basically that's going to make this thing work.
Yeah.
So my brain is already like spinning up 90 miles an hour.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. Maybe I'll drop you an email. I'll drop Ed an email about what we could do. I'm not sure whether they still want people to come down and stream everything from there, or if they're going to want everybody to stay at home, at least some of us who are able to stream from home. So, yeah, we'll talk.
You're not wrong, Otter Mama. This is going to be a fun couple of...
Massive. Yeah.
I'm sure I'll have plenty of help. It's really just the tech side of things. I think that we're going to have to meet with a lot of different streamers to kind of make sure that, because honestly, I think if we're going to do this con online completely, I think we're going to have to, I want to have 24-hour coverage almost, and there's got to be plenty of people in the community who can do this, who want us to help support that goal. If that means a lot of D&D, if that means a lot of announcements, that means whatever. I think we'll try to fill the block as much as we can.
That makes sense. All right.
So anyway, yes, let me find a raid real quick.
Sure.
Also, we can vote again. We'll probably do this poll a couple more times just to kind of get everyone included. Pendrake, if you want to, you can just put your vote in the chat itself, and we'll consider it. But it does look like, I mean, the current time, I'm sorry, the normal time and then the time we started today are pretty close to each other. No one seems to want it later than that.
No, yeah, I agree. I don't want it later than that, I think.
Yeah, and
then
I agree with that too.
It would impinge on my lunch then and my schedule.
Absolutely.
With Kiri, because Kiri definitely does have a schedule. I'm sorry that I prioritize my dog and all. Alrighty.
You know what, Graz? I'll go ahead and I'll take your recommendation. Let's hit up Brush for Hire.
Alrighty. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed Mr. Marble Dice and looking at how to do some marbling with... I haven't ever done the marble with metallics before. I think I'm going to have to mess with it a bit. I like it. I can see ways that I would do it a little differently, but I think it turned out pretty well. So, alright, so let me go back to my face cam just so I can say goodbye to y'all. Thank you for tuning in today and every day for the stream. Remember to hit us up later today, which is, do we have Toolbox today, Justin? Later or no?
Yes, we should have Josh on at 3.
Okay.
I don't think that's changed.
Okay, so Josh will be on for Toolbox this week. Which will be at our 3 p.m. Central Time slot today. And I will be back tomorrow morning.
Pendrake voted for the 12:30 Central, it looks like. So that puts us at, they're about 10 votes apart. So.
All right, cool. All right, so we're resuming at normal time tomorrow?
Yes, we'll be at normal time tomorrow. We'll do this, like I said, we'll do the vote a couple more times because we do want to get a a nice consensus from our. I'd like to have more voter participation in the audience.
Yeah.
Obviously, if we need people who are having issues with the mobile version, if we need people to kind of just vote in chat, we can do that and count on.
Well,
them,
and
not worry about it.
also Reaper just dropped a huge announcement, and that may have distracted people. So
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
You're right.
so
That's true.
that probably took away a little
Wow.
bit. All right, you guys, have a
We
great
got
day.
we got to learn that stuff at the same time as all of our audience members
Yes.
here.
Oh
It's kinda
wow.
nice.
Yes, and I was actually I had already had the thought, so I'm not surprised. All right,
That
guys,
is true.
have a great
Yes.
day. I'm gonna take my doggy out and enjoy the weather, and yeah, have a happy. We are on Wednesday, right? Wednesday. Have a happy
Yes.
Wednesday.
Today Wednesday? Oh wow. It is. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Spread the Reaper love. Keep being awesome, and I look forward to kind of planning this digital con, kind of with the community involved here in the next 3 or 4 months. It's gonna be fun. See you guys tomorrow or later today and then tomorrow.